Today, Elon Musk suspends Kanye West from Twitter. Obama has an unfortunate gaffe about Joe Biden, and director James Cameron says testosterone is a toxin. Does he know what gender he is? I don't know. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Happy Friday. I am joined today by the one, the only, Eric July, BlazeTV contributor, and of course, founder and owner of Rippaverse Comics, which, if you enjoy a good comic book and you don't enjoy the woke BS that comes with it, I'm just saying, this is your guy.
Just saying.
And if you know anyone who needs a gift for the holidays, who also enjoys that, I'm just saying, this is your guy.
Right there.
And they can go where?
Rippaverse.com.
I knew it. I just wanted you to say it. Glad you can be here, Eric. Also joined by the infamous Alex Stein, BlazeTV host of an upcoming show, soon to be Primetime with Alex Stein. So, and I mean, I do really mean very soon. There's the bones of it right in the other room. We keep going and checking on the progress of it.
I know. I feel like just like a person on a hunger strike, watching other people eat. You're eating. Now we're on your set.
You're not on a hunger strike.
I know. I'm not. I'm very fat. But I'm just using that metaphorically. Do not fat shame me on a Friday. I use that analogy. And I am eating too much. I was just complaining about how I'm fat and I want to lose 20 pounds for the show. And Sarah fat shames me. So thank you, Sarah. Happy Friday to you.
You're welcome. I'm just here for you.
Are you ready to get into your big news? Or are we going to start off the show with that? Or?
We're going to start off the show with Elon Musk.
Okay,
actually.
Yeah, we'll
Thank you very much. Elon Musk. More on that to come. Elon Musk last night suspended Kanye West, who I feel like I need to say the artist formerly known as Kanye West. This is Ye now, from Twitter after he tweeted an apparent logo for his presidential campaign.
Can we show that on YouTube?
Well, we're doing it. There it is. This is an apparent logo for his presidential campaign that showed a Nazi swastika inside a Jewish Star of David. Ooh, this is getting awkward, guys. He also posted a tweet acknowledging that he was about to be banned. With it said, "Well, everyone, we had a nice run." It also included screenshots of a text conversation he was having with Elon, where Elon told Kanye, "Sorry, but you have gone too far. This is not love," in response to the swastika logo. And Kanye responded to Elon, "Who made you the judge?" His last tweet was of someone squirting an overweight Elon Musk with a hose. There it is. And he says, "Let's always remember this as my final tweet. Hashtag Yay24. Elon responded to the tweet, "That is fine." So this, of course, comes after the news. We played a clip of this yesterday. But for those of you who didn't see, yesterday Kanye went on Alex Jones with Nick Fuentes, which, you know, you got to wonder why Nick Fuentes continues to. I mean, he's acting as his handler, but he shows up in all of these interviews in a chair with a microphone, hoping that he will also get some airtime. So, I wonder what that guy's motivations are. But Kanye shows up with this guy on Alex Jones in a weird Balenciaga mask, which, like, we can talk about why he's wearing a Balenciaga mask now after all of that. There he is. That was Kanye yesterday. Totally sane, totally stable person showing up in a Balenciaga mask, completely covering his face, talking about how he loves Hitler, and he said he saw good things about Hitler, that everyone has something of value that they bring to the table. He said especially Hitler, and that the Nazis did good things. People need to stop dissing the Nazis all the time, and that Hitler didn't kill 6 million Jews. The Holocaust is not what happened, and that he likes Hitler.
Before we say anything bad about this, at least Kanye was following COVID protocol. Dr. Fauci would be proud. And the gloves. He went the extra mile to make sure not to spread the virus. So
that is true.
Now we can go into Ye, but thank you for following COVID protocol.
Okay, well, go ahead and continue. What else would you like to say?
Well, Kanye's in a lot of trouble, it looks like. He's facing a lot of scrutiny, and I'm hoping and praying that he will change his angle and like to do the whole I'm sorry, I was wrong, second chance bit.
He's not going to do that.
I know he's doubling down right now, but inevitably that will be done. He will have to do that.
He won't do it. I don't think he will.
2 months, 3 months. I think I just saw a tweet.
Will.
I like Milo. I like Nick. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I like his handlers. It's all fun and games, but it's all going to be over very soon. I believe Milo is just seen on a jet or on a plane with a bunch of bags. So this whole kit and caboodle, I'm Kanye, I'm an anti-Semite, yada, yada, it's only going to last a month or two.
Okay, let's, Erica, I want to get your thoughts on this, but let me play for you one of the clips, one of the many clips from yesterday's episode with Alex Jones on InfoWars, where Kanye is, he literally is like, I love Nazis, which is, I don't know, kind of weird. Watch.
I gotta watch my accounts because they've been frozen by the Jewish banks. So I need to watch my meals.
Well, CNN says white people are evil Nazis. So, I mean, I disagree with both statements, but I get the frozen.
I don't like the word evil next to Nazis. I think we need to look at.
Oh, my goodness. Just because you don't like one group doesn't mean the other. Look,
I love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
Oh, man. Well, I have to disagree with that.
When Alex Jones is like, oh, get me out of this, bail me out, someone bail me out, you know that it is really bad. I want to play one more clip of Kanye doing his best Benjamin Netanyahu impersonation, I guess. Watch.
I believe every group should be able to be
switched his name to Netin. I dropped the Yahoo so we didn't have to. I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the Netin, so for now, he's just Netin. I know some people call him BB. No, some of you call him Yahoo, but we're gonna call him Netin. What you want, Netin? Hey, yay, right after this, I'm gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks, and we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the pedophilia.
So, and in a little while, hopefully you're going to take the mask off, because is this actually yay here?
Oh, God, this is... Eric?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, to be completely honest, with this whole situation, but I will say this. I think this whole sham of, there's been people certainly within this conservative circle that I remember would latch on to Kanye with this, and I'll go ahead and name drop Candace Owens and a lot of these folks who were, parading this guy around red hat. It was all good, and all these guys have been basically non-existent while we watch this man sit and just melt down. And this is what gets me pissed off when these guys get into cultural bull crap, because you can tell and you can see that a lot of these weirdos aren't actually genuine in anything it is that they believe. I will say this: if anybody can get me in contact with Kanye West or his team, I would love to speak with him seriously, just on some real stuff, because it is apparent that he is being misled, and the fact that, again, the people that were parading him around aren't even like trying to reel him in or anything, not even making an effort, really pisses me off, and it goes to show that there's so many frauds within this movement. But nonetheless, what you're seeing is like the guy is actively melting down, and of course, because he's kind of he's rubbing elbows with people that don't have, it ain't even about their positions. It's the fact that they don't have what's in the best intentions of let's say, they don't have their best intentions in mind when it comes to Kanye. Obviously, they're just kind of using them, and it's all fun and games, and it's all hilarious, yada, yada, yada. And again, the fact that I remember so vividly, because we would talk about it on this show, when he kind of put the red hat on, all these people kind of, hey, look, you got a guy that we can gravitate toward, that he's one of us. Where are you? You're not here. Now it's like, oh, hey, we're watching him melt down. Look at this guy, he's crazy as hell. Wait a minute, we wasn't saying that like 4 years ago. What's up with this? Shows that y'all full of crap. And I just wish people would just admit that. Nonetheless, it's sad to see this brother have to go down the route that he's going, because I'm legit watching someone kind of derail everything that they have going in life. You saw he took like a real downturn when he lost his family. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where it really started. Kanye has always been on some like out of the box stuff. In fact, that's kind of what made him great as an artist, right? The fact that he was out of the box. But to what we're seeing now, certainly after he lost his family, like this guy's dealing with some legit problems. And that needs to, anybody needs to, as opposed to just saying, oh, look at him, he's crazy, and laughing and giggling. Like, I really believe we need folks that have good intentions in mind, not bad ones to try to use him or piggyback off of his career or anything like that, to have legitimate discussions with him about all of these certain issues and try to reel this guy in because he legitimately needs help.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Eric, because that was going to be the next place that I went, which is, you haven't.
And one more thing, because I think it's like really jacked up. I know.
Wait, you just pulled a Kanye.
Right? Yeah. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish. No, because like, and the more I think about it, the more screwed up it is. Because didn't like the whole Paula situation? Did he like buy that or something?
Yeah, but it fell through.
So the deal itself fell through.
They just announced. So they just announced it that they have mutually agreed with Ye to terminate the intent of the sale of power.
So they're gonna, which is I would say good, but the fact that seemed to be the angle, like that, like again, it seems like folks from different sides of this, probably all on the same side, are using this man. And that's aggravating. That's just aggravating to see.
And as a person that wants to use him, this is how I would manage Kanye if I was talking to Kanye right now. Stop. First of all, no, because he's not articulate enough, and he's a genius, one of the greatest artists of our generation when it comes to producing hip hop.
So you're saying a musical genius?
I mean, and I would just say if you're that talented musically, you're a genius overall. But there's also this form of like autism where you're so brilliant, you can't really articulate your viewpoints. You have this almost like antisocial behavior, which I think he falls in that trap, where he has antisocial personality disorder, which I'm not trying to defend him. I guess my point is he's not going to be able to go around and do these hour-long podcasts and be able to get his point across. What he needs to do is focus. In my opinion, if I was his manager, I'd say you need to make an album. And I'm trying to say his views are abhorrent. I don't agree with his views.
Thank you for saying that.
But if he wanted to get his views across to the masses, one of the biggest forms that the government uses is propaganda through music. So you're not going to be effective, Kanye, with your message, getting it out there, sounding like an idiot saying that Hitler is good. You need to make a song, call it Hitler is bad or good or whatever. But I'm just saying is he's never going to get his message across by speaking on long-form podcasts. So I would make an album if he really was trying to get his message across.
So I'm not so concerned with getting the message across.
No, I'm just saying what I would do if I was Kanye right now. Obviously,
if you were a mentally ill, unstable individual,
I would not be going on these podcasts.
Health,
yes,
right?
No, everything
mental
he's saying
health,
is terrible. That's why I think his team is so bad. It's like, why is he going and trying to be a political?
Well, like
figure?
I said, the people that are, it's obvious, man. The people
They're
that are
exploiting
around
him.
That's the perfect term to use. That he's being exploited by certainly the people that are around him, and it's painfully obvious.
Should be producing music, not talking about political stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Laura Ingraham saying "shut up and dribble," but that is kind of the case with Kanye.
Well, that's the thing, though. There wasn't nobody saying that when it seemed to be a lot more tame than when it was like 4 years ago. That's my whole thing. Like, I think that's more of a cop-out to look at it like that. I think the man just don't got it all upstairs right now. And I think it's simple. That's not, and I hate that we have to like, oh, well, what he's saying is really screwed up. Like, that's what makes it so painfully obvious that something's going on. And the fact that he's just rambling, like whatever, I don't know what that was, that a fly sword or whatever he had on there, he's talking through screen. Like, a net was, I guess, was what it was.
Net and
like,
Yahoo,
come on, man. Like, this guy, like, seriously, like, it was, it's not funny. That's my whole thing. Yeah, we see it right there. I guess that's
it's like so awkward that you have to laugh.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like, and even like Alex Jones, I guess it's like, man, what? I can't even absolve this guy of anything that he's saying right now because it's legitimately nutty. And that's why, like, I would love to have a conversation with him. I love to have a conversation like myself or Maj Toure off the record, like none of no cameras, none of this bull crap, to like really see where this guy is at, man, because he legitimately needs help, and it's certainly not nobody from the conservative movement offering this guy any sort of sound advice.
Yeah. Well, I want to, before we switch gears here, I do want to just make a note that this program has constantly, been warning conservatives, don't be the nerdy kid at the dance who is just so ready for someone to notice them that you're like, oh my God, he wore a red hat. He's amazing. He's a conservative. He's one of us. Oh my God, he believes in freedom of speech and he wants to take over Twitter. He must be one of us. Don't do that, okay? You're going to regret it later, most of the time. I want to switch gears here for a second. As many of you may remember, I filed a lawsuit against the Beto for Texas campaign based on an incident at a campaign event earlier this year. I'm happy to say the matter is settled. And that's all that I can say about that. I just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to my attorney, John Gross, who is also working with a good friend of the program, Joseph McBride, doing tremendous work defending January 6th defendants. By the way, you can follow his January 6th work across social media at McBride Law NYC.
Okay. Time out. So that was very vague. So I would like a little clarification. Let's roll that back on the prompter so I can see that, because I don't see. It says somewhere. I don't see any numbers. I don't see anything.
So
there's nothing that says like, oh, I got a big check from Beto from the campaign that has like $11 million left over in campaign funds or something like that.
So, well, perhaps you didn't hear me. What I said was, I'm happy to say that the matter is settled.
I don't know. I want to hear ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. I don't hear any of that. I don't hear the
I'm very
cashers.
happy to say that the matter is settled.
Okay,
and that's
well,
all that
how
I can
happy?
say
Like
about that.
you can supersize your fries, or you can get a sunroof in your new car.
I'm very happy to say that the matter is settled, and that's all that I can say
Is it
about
going to be a
that,
Merry
and I'd
Christmas,
like
or is it
to-
going to be a...
It's always a Merry Christmas,
But is it going to be
Alex.
extra Christmassy? Like,
In
is the Grinch...
2022,
Is
I
Beto
think
going to make your Christmas better? Do you think that there'll be bigger presents that have more volume and mass and a price
Robert
tag that would be
Francis
higher?
O'Rourke losing governor of Texas is always going to make my Christmas way better. Let's be clear. I'd like to thank our sponsor.
But you did just book a vacation to Orlando for Disney. And we were
Universal.
Universal, yes. But she didn't get any money or anything, but she is going on a very expensive trip to Universal paid for by the Blaze. So thanks, Glenn.
Thanks to a lot of people. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Raycon. Let's be real, between hectic holiday travel, stressing over getting that family recipe just right, and dealing with, that uncle's politics that are, I don't know, just crazy. The last thing you want to worry about is finding a good gift for everyone on your list. It can kind of turn you into a Grinch because you're just worried about the wrong things. In the spirit of giving, I'm sharing my go-to gift idea, premium audio products from Raycon. We use Raycon exclusively in my house, so much so that my children are always stealing my earbuds from me. I'm like, who took my earbuds this time? They've got a really great, comfortable fit. They go all the way in the ear. They don't have that dumb stem hanging out that's going to weigh your ear down, and they've got really, really long battery life. By the way, you got to love that they start at half the price of other premium audio brands. Like I said, they've got, I love them. My whole family loves them. You really got to get them for your loved ones. And they've got a bunch of different colors. So whatever, like I love pink. They've got a cute pink one. They've got blue. They've got black. They've got the big headphones. They've got white. They've got whatever you need. And you're going to save a ton by not going to, I don't know, the ones who design the dumb stems that come out of your ears. Right now, go to buyraycon.com/Y. You'll get 15% off site-wide with the code HOLIDAY. Plus, you're going to get free shipping. That is BUY, buyraycon.com/Y.
These look kind of gay.
Those look dumb.
They look like I have earrings. These aren't
Those
mine. These aren't mine. This is a lady friend of mine.
Oh
Just
my
put it
God,
that
here
way.
we go.
Yeah.
Don't be like Alex.
I know. I feel like I look like I have a jewelry on. Like, oh.
Yeah,
it's
you look like you're wearing earrings.
very
Don't be
feminine.
like Alex.
We're
Go
going
to
to the bar.
buyraycon.com/Y. Well, former President Barack Obama made quite an unfortunate gaffe about Joe Biden's mental state while campaigning in Georgia with incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock. I just want to be clear, Joe Biden is not campaigning for Warnock, and reports have been that Warnock does not want him to campaign for his runoff here, his absence. Joe Biden's absence was highlighted when Obama made a comparison between Herschel Walker and crazy Uncle Joe that most Americans seem to have. Watch.
We all know some folks in our lives who we don't wish them ill will. They say crazy stuff. We're all like, well, Uncle Joe, you know what happened to him. It's okay. They're part of the family, but you don't give them serious responsibilities.
Wow.
That was quite the enunciations. I think Obama, he's very careful to turn on whatever types of inflection he wants to turn on, depending on what audience he's in front of, I feel.
Code switching? Is that what you're saying that he's doing?
Is that the definition of that?
Yeah,
term?
that's like the definition.
Cold switching.
Code switching.
Code switching.
Yeah, wow. Like, I've heard that one before.
Yeah,
That's what that is.
that's when you change your lingo depending on who you're in front of.
Wow,
But
cold switching.
I wonder if it's one of those things with Obama where he they talk about this all the time type of stuff, and it was a slip up. Because obviously he can still present it as well. I wouldn't mean it at Joe
Right,
Biden.
right. Joe is such a common name.
Yeah, he's Uncle Joe.
Yeah, just Uncle Joe is what I'd imagine he would say. But I wonder if it's like one of those things where, we actually think that.
I mean, we do have the report that before, this was when Joe was first running and announced his campaign, we got reports that said that Obama was having backroom conversations that said, never underestimate the ability of Joe's
to mess something up,
to F things up.
Yeah.
So this is isolated. You're like, come on, that's not what he meant. But again, to that point also, Obama did not endorse him until he was literally the last man standing. And then he was like, you guys should probably vote for him. This was his vice president, his own vice president, and he would not endorse anyone until the guy was the last person who was on the Democrat side.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating, this whole ordeal. I think that this is maybe a conversation that he and his, ilk posse, whatever you want to call them, they actually talk about this type of stuff. It's he's kind of crazy, kind of wacky, and it's hey, I'm just kind of in conversation and slipped up. But again, it's done in a way to where he can just say, well, no, I wasn't talking about Joe Biden. It's just Joe's it's such a common name. Yeah,
well, he emasculates President Biden a lot because he called him vice, recently when he was at the White House. And I think it's clear that there's two factions that actually run the Democratic Party or the Democrat Party, and it's Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And so now it's Hillary Clinton, I believe, is taking a little more of a backseat. And now you could say Barack Obama is our shadow president. So this is him just trolling President Joe, in my opinion.
Yeah. Trolling him, even though he's probably the one pulling the puppet strings.
He's doing it all, I believe, yes.
Yeah. All right. Yesterday, Apple CEO Tim Cook was grilled over Apple's cozy relationship with the Chinese government. But you guys are going to be shocked to hear that he refused to answer any questions about that. Watch.
The Chinese people's right to protest? Do you have any reaction to the factory workers that were beaten and detained for protesting COVID lockdowns? Do you regret
it's hard to interview
restricting
and walk
airdrop
like that.
access that protesters used to evade surveillance from the Chinese government?
Hello? Tim?
Do you think it's problematic to do business with the Communist Chinese Party when they suppress human rights?
Hello?
All she's going
Yes?
to say, Tim, you're a big booty
Hello?
CEO.
Hello? Is anyone in there? No? You can't hear me? Are you deaf? No? Nothing to say? Oh, okay.
I'm filing a lawsuit against Fox News. These people cannot keep stealing my identity and trying to do this, gonzo journalism where you get the microphone in their face. And honestly, I was very empathetic to her because it is hard. You can just walk by. As a reporter, you kind of want to stop them and get there, but he's zigzagging. She's trying to get in and out of the way of his staff. So she really had a tough assignment. I think if she was smart, she would have stayed at the door and caused some sort of disturbance. And then there would have been a blockade. That's would have been my game plan. I would have blocked the door. I would have had kind of like a Willie, like an inside job guy to block that door. Then I got Tim Cook blocked in, almost like an Austin Powers where he can't get the card out. And then I got the microphone right in his face.
So Alex is going straight to what he would do to get good content. But where I'm going is there are people in China who are
don't worry about the
dying
Uyghurs. Who cares?
because that's not just the Uyghurs, it's the people who are being quarantined into their apartment complexes that are getting set on fire, and they're just dying because they've been welded in because of China's zero COVID policy. Yes.
They extended the suicide nets from 14 feet to 22 feet.
That is so nice of them.
And now there's 7 less suicides per quarter. So I mean, they've reduced suicide by 7 every 4 months. I think they're doing pretty spectacular. If I was, just speaking on the record. So.
Yeah. By the way, so China, of course, relies on the internet, social media censorship, and Apple limited the airdrop feature in China right before the protest began. So they're helping limit the spread of information between Chinese citizens so that they can't get this information.
Yeah, man, I've been going down this rabbit hole because I obviously, as a business owner, and I meet with the Rippaverse, we want to kind of enter into our own manufacturing and stuff, and you'd be surprised just how much, even in the toy and sculpt manufacturing, like it's virtually non-existent in the U.S. And everything is in China, but not even just that, like even the other countries that have, you go South America, all these guys are getting their products from China. It's like it was so fascinating as I ended down this rabbit hole. But to make this unique to what's going on with Apple, in that they rely so heavily upon them, which is so hilarious because you see all of these different companies do this virtue signaling thing every, definitely in 2020, everybody's is trying to claim moral high ground. And a lot of these guys get their work directly really with the Chinese government to line their pockets up. Let's just call it that. Now, this is even bigger because now you're dealing with the situation where there are protests in China where, and it's existing with factory workers that specifically work for, and I use that loosely, for Apple, essentially making their products and then giving it to them. So you're working directly with the regime that is suppressing people to the point to where they be welding their doors shut and putting them in what looks like effectively concentration camps and little bubbles where they're supposed to be kind of contained to due to this COVID-0 policy. Basically, no major corporate entity has the moral high ground if you knowingly do that. We're not talking about like basically the backbone of Apple is being reliant upon them making their products. That's just the reality. Now I'd make the argument there's something need to change. I'm as pro-free trade as anybody certainly here. But I think this goes a lot deeper. The more I looked into it, and maybe this is a topic for another show, it's deeper than just cheap labor. That doesn't make sense. Or the fact that they have billion people that are there. That doesn't make any sense considering that they really do everything for the rest of the world for a lot of major industries. They ain't just cheap labor. It's a whole lot more going on with that. And all of your major corporate entities are certainly complicit, because I was talking about this with like the toy industry, and I see all these big gurus that everybody looks towards, and they like, oh, well, these guys are such great people. They've done such good things for these industries. I'm like, ain't none of y'all thought to have a coordinated effort? Because think about it. When have you seen these mega corporate entities have like a coordinated effort to get rid of, let's say, something as simple as like the laws and regulation that really incentivize people to have to go overseas to get business, basically. That's really in every industry. You may be dealing with that stuff with makeup stuff. It's pathetic. The more you look into it, and you're like, wait a minute, we're kind of tying our citizens' hands behind their back, because some of them will willingly produce, but you make it more expensive for them, having to jump through all these hoops, even like these stupid like laws that exist because they act like they're trying to be so protective of the kids with these toys. You'd be surprised. You can't just put out a toy. It ain't as easy. You got to jump through 75 different hoops just in this country. So, and they're all complicit. All these guys, Apple, major corporate entities, are complicit.
I appreciate you saying that because it is very, very hard. I know you just said you're finding out now. The reason why we have not, we've got a bunch of great products that you should check out at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com, but the reason why we have not expanded into other things is because everything that we currently offer is made in the USA. It's made in America, and I'm working very hard to keep it that way. And it is very hard to, in fact, keep it that way. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And again, not to promote myself, but I'm going to, AmericanBeautyBySarah.com for your loved one, well, for your the female in your life who needs some makeup or skincare. You can go there, AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. All right, we've got.
Well, and just real quick, I think that's one of America's biggest weaknesses, that we don't manufacture anything.
Really?
Yeah, well,
it's sad.
It is, but like, does it come back? I don't think it does. I know we got to take a break, but like, I don't think it does. I don't know how. We've got so much more automation in this country now. I mean, I don't know how we bring that back.
It's the regulatory body. But again, the big guys, that's the thing. The big guys aren't incentivized because it keeps folks that definitely want to start from the ground up away from being able to afford to produce. And they know that. So why would they fight against any regulation?
Well, this is the last thing to say, because you can go to any small town and all all, when you go in the city, you go in the city square, it's all dead because America is built on manufacturing. That's why all these small towns are dying. So it's going to happen, probably not to the big cities, but that's just kind of like, you know, the same theme that's happened all over the country.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. James Cameron, this is writer and director of Terminator, Terminator 2, True Lies, Aliens, and of course Titanic, said earlier in his career that he and his work were poisoned by the toxin that is testosterone. Ugh, don't you feel disgusting even hearing the word being uttered from me, testosterone? He said this while, of course, promoting his Avatar sequel. He was also the director of Avatar, which I think is probably one of the most overrated movies of all time. I don't care to watch the sequel. And he said a lot of things I did earlier I wouldn't do, career-wise, and just risks that you take as a wild testosterone-poisoned young man. I always think of that as something you have to slowly work out of your system. So here are some aspects of his work he could be referring to that maybe were tainted by testosterone or, I don't know, like toxic masculinity. He said of his alien female heroine in Avatar, right from the beginning, I said, she's got to have this, the chest area. I feel weird saying it.
Like Kate Winslet had in Titanic?
Like what Kate Winslet had in Titanic, yes. His tentpole features, that's funny, often had bombastic practical effects and huge budgets, which he would fight for in F-bomb-laden shouting matches with executives. This is according to a lot of sources. I think Hollywood Reporter was one of them. And he also, let's see, Ed Harris punched him in the face on the set of the Abyss, and he said about Titanic, I made Titanic because I wanted to dive into the shipwreck, not because I particularly wanted to make the movie.
Wait, stop the presses. Is he hating on Titanic, arguably one of the greatest movies of all time?
He didn't want to make the movie.
His testosterone-laden young self was able to make the greatest love story of all time.
But he didn't want to make the movie.
That makes me sick, James Cameron. As a person that loved Titanic, I mean, those were some of the first boobs I ever saw, were Kate Winslet. So that's why that was very monumental for me.
That's why you loved it?
Yes, duh. Are you kidding? I had the VHS. I had that thing on pause. And my mom walked in the room. I'm like, Mom, get out. Remember, like it was yesterday. So that's all because of you, James Cameron. So I owe you a lot. And for you to discredit the fabulous work that you did with my hero, Leo, oh my gosh, I mean, that movie.
This is a great display of toxic masculinity.
It is. And the soundtrack, I know. My gosh, the soundtrack was so elegant. I mean, it just makes you want to ballroom dance and, I mean, go get my nails done. It's just so masculine. It's like so broed out. I just love all the decor of the 1920s, design. It's just, it's a time and place that I would love to go back. I would love to have been on the Titanic. If I died on it, so what? At least I had a good time.
It's interesting because he claims that this was a toxin, testosterone, that he had to work out of his system. I wonder if he would be willing to give up the money that he made as a testosterone-laden man, like if that's so bad and it was a toxin, maybe just give up your money and that would be a way to
do that.
Really?
He wants to certainly ride on the back of the success that he had because of this testosterone-driven crap or whatever he's calling it. See,
Wait, are you saying he's just virtue signaling?
Oh, that's exactly what it is that he's doing.
No.
But real quick, doesn't he have enough money not to have to virtue signal? Like, what the
he
heck?
does.
Well, I think that's.
But he's trying to promote his new stupid movie that no one wants to see.
Avatar 2 with everything. But this thing is like, it's something that we're seeing in a lot of entertainment sector where you had guys that did a lot of just, let's say, good material back in the Gap who then tried to act as if they were somehow toxic at some point, not because I think they actually believe that, but because, well, that's certainly the end thing to do. We see this in comics all the time where you got guys, think about the guy was Jerry Conway who actually created The Punisher. That guy couldn't be anything further from if you read his Twitter now, you'd be like, ain't no way that guy created the Punisher. But that's just kind of how it is. A lot of these guys are certainly like that, where they're signaling and doing all of this weird stuff and trying to act as if, well, I had these problematic sort of ways, or they gaslight and act like, well, no, this masculine thing that you saw before wasn't really that. It was like, think of it this way, which, pulling the old J.K. Rowling situation where now something is what it's not. So you just ignore it. I'm the creator or whatever. But this is what we're seeing a lot of. Look, man, Y'all know how as I drop
Eric's
everything,
throwing
I'm so
stuff
pissed
under
off
the
that I'm throwing
table.
stuff. As a guy that is trying to compete with these folks in entertainment, this is just a lot of this goofiness going on. And I think there needs to be alternatives to every single thing it is that they're doing. Avatar 2 would be, that's a Disney product now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
So yeah, let them, it was reported, I don't know how true this is, that in order, because of how much money they spent on this movie, they were going to have to make like $2 billion in order to like break even.
No,
I don't,
that much.
yeah, I don't know if that's certainly true, because obviously with box office, it's not just that. It's usually you got double
Marketing.
yeah, marketing and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know if it's that high. It probably does have to make a significant amount, because they're already talking about, oddly enough, like Avatar 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, he said he has enough to do Avatar 7.
Yeah, so
I'm like, wow, the content nobody's asking for.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Nobody wants to see Avatar 2. I mean, I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be interesting to see
one
what the return
sucked.
is. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what it's actually gonna do, but Disney has been the movie industry in general. I don't know if this one's gonna be. Yeah, I think Avatar 2 did get an approval in China.
Wow.
But they're going through the lockdown situation, so I don't know if
Right,
that's even going to be a
exactly.
thing.
They're not going to be allowed to go see the movie.
Yeah.
But I want to make two quick
Real
points
quick.
because this is two huge examples. Chris Rock, and it ties in with The Office. Steve Carell said they couldn't make The Office today because in the first episode of The Office, the pilot episode, Steve Carell has to go to Human Resources because he says an old Chris Rock bit talking about the N-word from the hard R to the A, basically. And Steve Carell says how they wouldn't be able to do that in a pilot. So that show wouldn't have gotten picked up today, in his opinion. And then Chris Rock, for that bit, apologized for it. The guy that wrote it, arguably one of the funniest stand-up comedy bits of all time, Chris Rock said, I was out of line.
Also, like a black guy, so
Yeah, exactly
you don't
right.
need to apologize for
Wow,
anyone.
Miss Bernie Mac, man.
Yeah, I know. Bernie Mac was
So
the
much.
greatest, the GOAT, for real.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I just can't believe Chris Rock apologized for that
Bernie
comedy
Mac.
bit. That was one of the funniest.
Libs of TikTok revealed earlier this week that transgender activist Eli Ehrlich appears to be smuggling trans drugs to minors internationally. So Ehrlich's tweet shows a photo of pill bottles and reads, "Sending life-saving hormones to those in need is going very well, actually. Thanks to your free advertising, we've helped dozens more people access meds in the past couple weeks. Appreciate your gracious support as always." And then tagged, of course, the owner of Libs of TikTok. This is a pretty serious thing, guys. This is I think it was a couple months ago. This was Libs of TikTok, and also Matt Walsh exposed this drug smuggling scheme and tagged the FBI and the DEA, who, seemingly have no interest in prosecuting this person for bringing all of these drugs that you're, of course, supposed to have a prescription for and be receiving doctor's care to children, adults. Who knows? It's just all really, really wrong. And I just want to give a plug to my friend, my mentor, Glenn Beck, who has a fabulous podcast out. I think all of you should go watch with Chloe Cole. This is Detransitioner Chloe Cole, who we had on the show several weeks ago. And she is an 18-year-old who was really done wrong by the medical community, who told her that she needed to change, medically transition. And there are a lot of things that happened to her that she can't take back, that will also happen to these people who are taking these drugs, who the trans community wants to tell you is reversible, and it's not. It's a lie. These are oftentimes not reversible measures that these people are pushing on these innocent children. So.
It's remarkable. I mean, not to make this about like us in terms of like libertarians, but I don't know where that meme kind of came from, that like whole libertarians want to sell drugs to underage people or care about the age of consent. When we sit up here and watch the leftists actually not give a crap about the age of consent, while also trying to push drugs onto minors, right? I think they actually are the ones that should be credited to that nonsense, because we have evidence of them actually doing that. It's such a bizarre thing to, I hate that they word it in a way like it's life-saving, life-altering, as if because you don't affirm to whatever that child is feeling like that day or whatever, despite them, of course, being a child, child, then they have a risk. What they try to do is say that basically they're at a risk of like maybe doing something to themselves.
They're going to kill themselves if you don't affirm.
If you don't do it. Whereas to, again, when they actually do transition, we don't see much difference in terms of the data of saving them from, let's say, self-deletion or whatever it is that you want to call that. Like, it's criminal what it is that they're doing, but it just goes to show how crazy these people are and how evil they are, that they operate out in the open with such confidence and no fear of any sort of consequences. It's quite dirty.
I want to just throw in here, in the Chloe's case, her parents were told, she never said this. She said she never knew that the doctors told her parents this, and she never said it, but that the doctors told her parents, if you do not affirm her as a boy, she will kill herself. Yeah. And I believe so that's what you're faced with as a parent. Either you do what we're telling you to do, or your kid's going to kill themselves and die. You choose.
Yeah, they use that suicide as like a carrot to get a mastectomy, and I believe that's what happened in Chloe's case. She was 15, I believe, when she got a mastectomy. So, you know, and that's also weird too that they even give it the caveat that, oh well, you know, they can just reverse it if they change their mind, which it's provably false. But the fact that they even give that caveat, like, oh, these people aren't just so stuck in their ways, they're going to permanently stay this way.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So it's kind of like they're being, you know, disingenuous just from the start.
Well, they also say gender is fluid. So it's like, okay, let's buy into that. If gender is fluid, then probably we shouldn't be cutting off the breasts of young girls and cutting off the penises of young boys in case they, I don't know, change their mind later, like you're saying that they should have the ability to do. Exactly. Call me crazy.
You nailed it.
It's a clown world, man. Like I say, things just don't make sense anymore. And that's my problem with what's going on. Because when you look at, even in comparison to maybe a decade ago, these are conversations, like I said, people were willing to bare knuckle box over just the mere insinuation of some abuse of children.
I sure am still willing to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, the fact, it just, again, when they're not afraid of consequence, they are going to be as bold as they are, which is why they operate so much out in the open. And yeah, they've gotten this sort of cabal of elites that actually support their causes, these virtue signaling companies, of course, the compromised medical industry, governments even in some cases, just really reaffirming this nonsense. And that's what makes it, I guess, difficult to combat. But the fact that there aren't, I guess this is not a black pill, but it is quite pathetic that there aren't people that are more up in arms about this, seeing how confidently they are to just getting this word out.
Well, yeah, because just real quick, you know, when a drug dealer on Instagram posts a car, you know, a picture with like his car and wheels and stuff, a lot of times cops will go investigate that, say, oh, maybe he's doing something illegal, or she, let me just be gender fluid with the drug dealer. But in this instance, they're literally posting their illegal drug dealing. I mean, open and shut case. Drug dealer, go nab it. I'd like to see if they actually follow through. I don't think they do.
They won't.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they won't. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Those of you living in New York City, listen up. They just posted a new job listing for a director of rodent migration. Now, this position is going to pay you between $120,000 and $170,000. It also requires a college degree, which I guess you need in order to root out rats. It also, the listing requests a general aura of badassery and said applicants for this dream job should have a virulent vehemence for vermin. And rat complaints have increased by 70% in the first 8 months of 2022 compared to 2 years ago. This actually makes me really sad because I've had pet rats several times in my life. And they're very sweet and cute. If you can get past their tails, they're just like cute little mice.
Not the New York ones. Them things.
That's fair.
Like,
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Like
they're like
shredder.
They're like as big as me.
Turtles, like
well, you can be anti-rat. I'm pro-rat. The pizza rat, the greatest rat of all time. And let me just tell you something. Eric Adams, you in a nightclub. My alter ego is Ronnie the Rat. You will not defeat us. I do not care if you hire who you hire. What the hell? You can bring anybody to New York City. The rats will always win, Eric. So just give it up, bud.
I feel, let's just start an adoption. You can adopt a rat for New York City.
Ronnie the Rat said, you have no chance, Eric. Give it up. Go back to the nightclub.